Welcome back to Camus Classics. Today we're going to be working on our 22 Ram 1500 Ecodiesel. I told you guys I'd get you a video on changing the fuel filter. Let me explain a little bit on that. So this right here is the fuel filter. When Ram put out for the 2022s, the initial only thing you could order was the entire housing. Since then they've come out, you can replace the filter that's in this housing. I'll show you the first part of it's the same. So the first thing you got to do is catch the fuel. And you open this here valve, which is the water separator valve. So if you do get they have a light on there. If you do get water in your fuel, you can just open this. The fuel will race to the top, the water will drop to the bottom, so you can let that out. I never reuse the fuel, I just get rid of it in a safe manner, an environmentally safe manner. But so what I'm doing is I'm just catching that diesel. There's diesel fuel. There may have been a little water. I don't think so. I haven't had that issue. But you've got to basically get the fuel out of this before you crack it open. So you just undo that little, basically hand tight, and catch the fuel that comes out. So we'll let this go for a minute and we'll come back to you. Hey, so as I was saying, on the Mopar site for parts, when I initially bought this truck, the only thing you could buy was the entire housing. You couldn't buy just the filter. And so that filter was quite expensive because it is this entire piece. I'll show you it right here in this box. We'll get it out and show it to you when we're ready to put it in. But it's quite expensive. So I bought a lot of them when I found them for a really good price. So I bought like 4 or 5 of them. I have this one and one more left out of that. And then we'll go to just replacing the filters. Or we may on the next couple replace the filters and then replace the housing. Because it is a plastic housing. And so, but basically what these filters cost is what I paid for the entire thing when I found them on a sale. So, but I will show you. So it's just, you know, very similar to the oil filter on these. And you just undo this. I'm using an 1.1/8", the appropriate size, and you'll see it continues to drip. That's why I left the bucket down here on the ground. I'm using an 1.1/8". The official size is 28mm. I don't have a 28mm, but this is close enough. So this is a little bit more messy than changing the entire thing. You get that lovely diesel fuel smell. So to change this filter, pull that off, change it, good to go. I'm going to end up putting this back in because I'm changing the entire thing. Maybe not. So you'll notice the O-ring's bad. They do send a new one with the filter, so it's kind of the whole piece. Let me wipe my hands off because I'm covered in diesel again, and I'll come back. Okay, so we're changing the whole thing. So you've got 2 electrical connections on this side, 2 hoses on this side. The hoses are held in by some keeper clips. And so are the electricals. You're just going to have to hit them. They don't come out. All the way. They just come out a little bit. And then slide off. That clip does come all the way off. And it's a little bit of a fight to get them off. Let's jump to these ones. So our electrical ones, it's really hard to see. In fact, let me come back to you in just a minute. Okay, so what I'm going to do, it's held in with 2 bolts. It's 13 millimeter. so I gotta get that pipe off. And just kind of snap on there. Okay, now I'm remembering on this one. So you've seen that one clip that fell off. There is a second clip that comes from the top. Right here. It's a little bit of a fight to get it, and most times I end up breaking this clip. That's why I have a stack of them over there. But let me get this clip off and we'll come back to you. So what you got this little black clip, and it goes on there. And then this red clip that I took off before basically does nothing but hold that clip in. So now we've got both of our lines undone. We can undo this, we can drop it now to where we can see. So on these, that red piece has to come out, and then these have you kind of got to push and push that clip down, which should release it. There we go. So that is the old filter out. Let me get cleaned up a little bit and we'll put the new one in. So here's our new one. It's all ready to go, sealed, ready to go. Basically, you just got to put it in. One thing you'll notice on these, I'll pull them off. See this little clip thing on both of them? When those hoses go on, they have to go past that. So the first time I did one of these, I did not. I got the, so the back one feeds your engine, the front one goes to your fuel pump, which is a high pressure fuel pump because diesels run at very high pressure. So got going down the road, all of a sudden the truck starts bucking. Things aren't right, of course, you could tell that. Get home. For about a mile, I left a trail of diesel. So it wasn't getting enough, it was getting air in the diesel. So when you push those on, you kind of got to push them and clip. And you can tell when it's on, you just kind of wiggle it. And you can tell when it gets on there. So what we're going to do, I'll leave these on for a minute. I am going to put the electrical ones back on before I put it up there, because it's just easier to slide them on and then get these, because you got to kind of wiggle and force them till you can get that clamp back over there. So that's what locks them in. And then it's And you got a little clip tab that goes in, and then we put our bolts back in. So I'm going to put the bolts back in. Why they did such long bolts, I don't know. And they're like 3-inch bolts to go through a probably 1/16 to an 1/8 plate. A little excessive in my opinion. Throw tools. Okay, so now I'm going to pull those caps off. And if you do happen to break these, you can get them at your auto parts store. They come in a package of like 4 or 5, so. This red one will only go on one way. And this is the one that's important. So it kind of gets stuck. You kind of have to fight it. You can see when I pull it, it come right off. So you kind of have to have that one down just a little bit. Notice it's on there good now. So we are done underneath here. Let me set it down and I'll show you what you need to do on the top end. So here's the last part of it. Once you get it changed down there, you gotta prime it up here. To do that, put it into the run position, turn it off. Without touching the brake, put it in the run position again. And off. One more time. And then start it. And then let it run for just a little minute. If it did get any air in the system, that's going to take care of it. And then also, we'll check for some leaks. There shouldn't be any, but we will check. Looks like I also need to change the oil again. That is one of our most popular videos. But I promised you I'd get you one of changing the fuel filter on this. Again, there's the two ways to do it. Let's go ahead and kill this now. There's two ways to do it. You can either change the actual filter itself or you can change the housing. Like I said, when I originally bought this, the whole housing was the only option. Now if you go on the Mopar website, it does show the filter option. You could buy the filter separate and you can just change the filter and that O-ring and do it that way. But it's every 20,000 miles, I believe, or every other oil change. The one thing I will suggest is if you do the oil change, if you're going to do an oil change and the fuel filter at the same time, do them separate. Because you have to build up that fuel pressure and stuff before you start it, and you want to start the engine when you change the oil. So I would recommend doing the fuel first, because if you run it, it's going to have that pressure in the filter. So thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe.